I'm about to attempt the perfect draft, but I'm not going to draft it from front to back because what I'm actually going to do is reverse engineer the draft from back to front before I press submit on entering a Best Ball Mania draft. I basically want to take advantage of all of the ADP risers and lingering values in drafts right now before the discounts fully evaporate in the coming days. And to do that, I need to stay on track. I can't get distracted as I head into this draft. So I've laid out a plan that will allow me to accomplish getting my priority targets while also still accomplishing other important initiatives like optimal structure and stacking. And so before I hop in, I'm going to outline my plan for you, let you know my exact targets, and then we can see together if I'm able to execute the perfect draft that I want. Or if curveballs force me to deviate off the course. I'm not just going to draft a bad team because I said I'm going to get these players. That isn't the goal here. So, one of the main things I want to do coming out of this draft is to backdoor a commander stack with Jayden Daniels. And to do this, I'm going to need to get tight end Ben Sinnott and wide receiver Luke McCaffrey. I envision all of these players rising in the coming weeks in ADP, so I want to lock this in while I still can. Ideally, if I'm able to complete it with Daniels, that would be in round 10, Sinnott in round 15, and Luke in round 16. But depending on where I pick, I might have to reach earlier. And Ben Sinnott continues to go earlier in drafts. Earlier today, John Daigle tagged me on X saying, why is he going in round 13? So we'll see if we can pull this off. But I'm also not that concerned about having to reach around for these guys in 14 and 15 because we also know this is when ADP ceases to matter. And you can check out our Scroll the F Down video if you want more context on that data and when ADP is no longer a predictor of fantasy points. The other main thing that I want to do is take advantage of all of these rookie risers who I know are only going to get more expensive. They're already rocketing up the boards, and so I want to try to lock some of them in now. Round 16 is a great place to grab a guy like Bucky Irving or the much more trendy Kamani Vidal if he's still there. In round 12, I'm penciling in a rookie wide receiver riser like Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall, or Jalen Polk. Round 11 is the sweet spot for a veteran running back riser. Guys like Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle could be on the menu. Round 10, like I said, is where we'll aim to get Jayden Daniels. Round 9 is perfect territory for either Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson, the two best rookies in this class, who I both think will be very valuable fantasy assets by the end of the season. And then round 8 is where things really get tricky because this is where Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman are going right now. Ladd's actually going at the very end of round 7. And I'm truly terrified that I'm not going to have any Ladd McConkey if I don't draft him now because he just continues to go higher and higher. In fact, I think I undershot it in our ADP risers video where I predicted round 8. He's literally already in round 7. I mean, this guy is screaming up board. So I'm going to try to get one of Keon Coleman or Ladd because I just know these are guys I'm not going to want to draft this summer when they reach their peak price. One nice thing about round 7 is this I'm leaving as kind of a flex pick. It could go in a few different directions. Maybe I reach for Ladd. It could also be a spot to get my other quarterback. And part of reverse engineering this is, hey, I know I want to get Jayden Daniels. I think he's a major value. Well, I know I'm also going to need to pair him with another QB. So this could potentially be if I get Trey McBride or Marvin Harrison, Kyler goes in this range. If I get CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott could be a pick here. If I have Chase or T. Higgins, Joe Burrow will often slide into this range. So round 7 is going to be a spot where I'm a little flexible. Round 6 is the Xavier Worthy round. He's going to be a 5th round pick by the time this video is up. So this is my last time to get a discount. I'm going to try to get him there unless I get any curveballs. Round 5 is pretty easy. This is the elite tight end round. Like I'm grabbing if Kelsey falls. Andrews is always there. Dalton Kincaid, McBride. That's the spot to grab our elite tight end, which is going to be a big part of all of my drafts this year. And of course, this first perfect draft as well. And then the first 4 rounds are going to be best available. You know, I'm going to be taking the best players. That's most likely going to be receivers. And I am hoping to get one back in there. And you can kind of then see what this target list does for an overall construction. The gods finally have blessed us with a middle slot, which is exactly what I wanted. We shall see if I can accomplish my perfect draft from the 1-6 slot in Best Ball Mania 5. So we'll see here. The board goes CMC, Lamb, Tyreek, Chase. We'll see what the 5-hole does. And I'll probably just take either of Justin Jefferson or Bijan. He goes Amon-Ra St. Brown. So yeah, we'll go Justin Jefferson. Um, the other thing I think about reverse engineering this draft, I did say at the top, ideally I would get a bell cow, an anchor RB, but I think I can pull this off with a zero RB build if I want. I mean, there is so much running back value. That some of my targets obviously are a bunch of these rookies, but there's those veteran running back risers we talked about, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Gus Edwards, and we already talked about round 7 being a flex round for me. And when you look at some of these guys that are going in round 7, this is when we hit the Aaron Jones, the David Montgomery, the Ramondre Stevenson. There's a ton of these guys. Zamir White, who's a riser. So if I don't end up with a running back early, I think my plan for the perfect draft is still fully intact, that I can kind of accomplish my initiatives while still going zero RB if I have to. I would have no problem taking Jonathan Taylor at pick 19. We could do the Achane thing again. I feel like I'm just getting bored of it, and that I've already done that in a lot of my early drafts. Let's do Jonathan Taylor. Finally mixing this up. He falls a few picks past ADP. He's a guy I know Sean Siegel's still really high on, and I like having kind of the flexibility of a bell cow back, an anchor back for this challenge of the perfect draft, because it allows me to really load up on some of these rookies that I'm not necessarily going to get early season production from. If you go true zero RB, you're going to need some projectable volume. You're going to need some Zamir White. You're going to need some David Montgomery. You're going to need some of these guys are going to touch the ball. Whereas once you got that anchor, we are now drafting as if this guy is a stud, a top 5 running back. And so I can sit on a Trey Benson to take over that backfield. I can sit on Jonathan Brooks taking over. I can sit on guys like Marshawn Lloyd and Ray Davis. So I kind of like the flexibility. That's why when I laid it out, ideally I would get a bell cow back, but I was not going to force it. And now we get Malik Neighbors at pick 30, which I love. You can see here in my rankings, which are the leg up rankings, Pat has him ranked at 22. I'm getting him at pick 30. His ADP is 26, so I'm getting him a few picks past ADP. Again, a nice thing about Neighbors, if I end up in a 3-quarterback build, I have Daniel Jones super late as well. Like I could do something like Jayden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, and Daniel Jones as my 3 quarterbacks. So as we've talked about our plan, we said we were going to kind of do best available for the first 4 rounds. And ideally that would include an anchor running back, check, Jonathan Taylor, and 3 elite wide receivers. We got Justin Jefferson and Malik Neighbors, and then we'll see what we can do here. I think if Zay Flowers is here, I'll take Zay and then see if I can get McBride or Andrews. This is what I mean by I'm reverse engineering my draft, but I'm not just stubbornly going to do it, in that I need to play the tiers. So Zay Flowers does go here. The next best wide receiver, I could take I could take Christian Kirk, but I'm going to take Trey McBride here. This is right at ADP. And then I'm just going to flip it and get my wide receiver in round 5. I'm going to lock up my elite tight end here. So Xavier Worthy, as how Pat has him ranked, this is a fair value here at 5.6. Like I've said in previous places, I'm trying to get him in round 6. I'm still trying to get a little bit of value on him. So I will probably take a veteran wide receiver here. One that I could also entertain is Terry McLaurin, knowing that I am going to get Jayden Daniels. That might loosen the pressure if I get sniped on a guy like Luke McCaffrey or Ben Sinnott. But you know what? Keenan Allen falls here, and I'm happy to get a Keenan share. His ADP is 46. Looking at the leg up ranks, they would want me to take another running back here. I don't want to. Yeah, this is kind of a tough spot. I think I will grab Keenan here. I did think Keenan needed to drop. He was one of the guys in the fallers range. He needed to drop about a round, and here he does drop about a round. Not a full round there, but gets into the mid-5th. I think that's a good price for Keenan. This also gives us another kind of stacking option. Caleb Williams goes a little bit ahead of Jayden Daniels, ADP at 94, Jayden at 117. So we continue to give ourselves flexibility at quarterback for stacks. Even in the time that I sketched out this video in my plan, Xavier Worthy has moved up in ADP. And there he goes. All right, Xavier Worthy. So that's the first part of our plan that has been blown up. Because of that, I do really want to try to get one of Ladd McConkey or Keon Coleman. Ladd has an ADP of 79, and Keon Coleman has an ADP of 88. So we pick at 67, 78, and 91. So I think that's a good spot. Like if I can get Ladd at 78 or Keon Coleman at 91, I think I do that. Rome falling here as well. I would happily select Rome. So by rank, it would be bully tight end, but we're going for the perfect draft. We're leaving Ben Sinnott in our back pocket. I don't need to take Kenneth Walker. There's two really interesting options here: Jordan Addison or Rome Odunze. Rome also needed to fall, but you can see even by the rank, this is where Pat has him ranked. I'm going to do this because I already have the Keenan. I also already have Justin Jefferson, so I could go Addison, but I have had very little Rome Odunze because of how expensive he's been. So I like this. We finally get Keenan Allen in Rome settling where I think is a much more reasonable spot for them. This is what I mean by I'm reverse engineering the perfect draft, and now I am going to adapt a little bit because I now think we could be looking potentially at 2 rookie quarterback double stacks. We could essentially be trying to now target Caleb Williams with this Keenan and Rome stack, and then also our backdoor stack that we set out to do at the very beginning with Jayden Daniels, Ben Sinnott, and Luke McCaffrey. So this will be fun to see how this breaks. The DJ Moore drafter does not have a quarterback yet, and the DJ Moore drafter has Terry McLaurin. So we might be battling with Slick Willie here for both Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. This could be interesting. All right, so this is finally our reversed engineered thing that we said we wanted to try to do. We said if Ladd is in round 7 or Keon Coleman is in round 8, the rank here, Legendary Upside has him at 68. This is right around his ADP. He is going to be more expensive than this, and we are accomplishing our goals here of getting these rookie wide receiver risers. Ladd McConkey here at pick 78, right at his current ADP, but his ADP is a rocket ship right now. I really do think he's going to be an early 6th, late 5th round pick when things close. So I will continue to get my shares now, and then I'll certainly be out once he is that pricey. So we missed out on Xavier Worthy, but we were able to get Ladd here and still pretty much on track. So he goes Jake Ferguson. Jordan Love goes. So now I'm here and I'm trying to figure out what I'd really, in my perfect world, I would get Caleb at 102 and Jayden at 115. I just don't know if this Slick Willie is going to let me have Jayden Daniels at 115. Let's see here. So I think we're going to grab a running back. You know what we're going to do? We built out such a big bet on Chicago. I'm going to take DeAndre Swift here. This is the Caleb Williams and this team smash, and Rome and Keenan are all better than expected. And that is one thing I do want to kind of do in these early drafts. Once we have the schedule, it'll be a lot easier to start correlating. Okay, who's Chicago playing in week 16 and 17? Maybe there's a running back in this range that they're playing, and I can kind of break a tie in favor of that correlation. Right now, we don't have that available to us. So I want to kind of lean into the one correlation I can bank on, and that is the team level correlation here, making a big bet on the Bears. When you've kind of cornered the market on a quarterback, and God, I hope I don't jinx this, he is sliding a little bit because no one wants to take Caleb Williams unstacked. Caleb Williams comes back. This seems like a no-brainer. We set out to do a Jayden Daniels backdoor double stack, and guess what? Rome and Keenan ended up being big values, and now Caleb falls. So we're going to do Caleb Williams here. And I will go ahead and put Jayden Daniels in the queue. I would love it. Slick Willie is who we're going to have to really watch here. I would love if he goes Trevor Lawrence. And that there's a chance Jayden still comes back and allows us to accomplish that initial goal. So this is really good news on the quarterback front. Slick Willie took Nick Chubb there. So if we look at just ADP for quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence and Jayden Daniels are very close to each other. So because he has both Brian Thomas and ETN, there's a really good chance he could take Trevor Lawrence, depending on, how he's valuing these. Um, and he also, I believed, had David Montgomery. Slick Willie does. So there's a small chance he could talk himself into Jared Goff too as a value. So I'm crossing my fingers, guys. This plan could stay intact. Okay. So these next two guys do not have a quarterback yet. And then line of scrimmage has two quarterbacks. He's not going to take Jayden Daniels. So this comes down to these two. Gus Edwards. Okay, Slick Willie, please take Trevor Lawrence. Please take Trevor Lawrence. Yes, he takes Trevor Lawrence. We're going to get Jayden Daniels. The plan is intact, folks. The plan is intact. I was going to be so devastated if this whole video was centered around backdoor stacking Jayden Daniels. And then it didn't work out because I had to do this Chicago Bears double stack. So, all right, we are back on track with round 10, Jayden Daniels, right where I wanted to get him. Didn't have to push him into round 9. So round 11, we were looking at a veteran running back riser. And round 12, we were looking at a rookie wide receiver riser, the Legettes, the Pearsalls, the Polks. We are picking at 126. Rico's ADP is later. I guess the question is, would we want to flip it and go like wide receiver running back? But I like the idea of staying on track here. Let's stay on track. Rico is the best available running back by our ranks. We said this was a spot to get a rookie running back riser. This is ahead of ADP, but yeah, I think we can grab Rico here, and we'll stay on track for our goal. So this is a little bit of a bummer. Legette and Pearsall go. So this is a little wrench thrown, but I have a couple wide receivers on the board that I still like here. Josh Downs, a year 2 guy. He needed to get cheaper. His ADP is 130. He's now at 139. Leg Up actually has a pretty aggressive ranking on him, 122, even with the addition of AD Mitchell. So he would certainly be a candidate. I also get a little correlation boost there because I already have Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, depending on what line of scrimmage does. All right. Yeah, let's grab Josh Downs at this price point. I think that's completely fine. So we miss out on the rookie riser because Legette and Pearsall went. We could have reached for Polk, but his ADP is at 154. So let's grab the ADP faller in Josh Downs. I think this is when I really look at the tight ends left, right? Cade Otton, Jawan Johnson, Hunter Henry, Tyler Conklin, even by rank and ADP. So Ben Sinnott is the third up in ADP. I'm not risking it here. We're going to get Ben Sinnott. We're going to complete this plan of reverse engineering it. This is for John Daigle, who says Ben Sinnott's going in round 13. All right, so I'm going to get one of Lloyd or Ray Davis. That feels fun. We'll see what line of scrimmage does here. He does go Marshawn Lloyd, which is fine. I'm completely fine with Ray Davis here as well. Ray Davis at pick 14, 7. And right at ADP, no problem with that. I envision him being a riser as well, and probably a guy who's going to get more steam even than Marshawn Lloyd. Like, I do prefer Lloyd to Davis. However, Davis is going to be the guy that moves because people are going to feel that he is less blocked than Lloyd is with Jacob. I am going to take Luke McCaffrey here at 174 if I'm able to. Okay, this worked out perfect. So we're going to grab Luke McCaffrey. So you can see here, the way I'd reached it was round 13, rookie running back riser, Marshawn Lloyd, Ray Davis, then round 14, Ben Sinnott, round 15, Luke McCaffrey. I basically just flipped and did Ben Sinnott first, then got Ray Davis, then come back and get Luke McCaffrey. So this is breaking almost exactly how we want. One other thing I might add to this wish list that I didn't think about starting out is maybe another one of these Giants wide receivers. So there's Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt. Now that I have Malik Neighbors, this is a spot where I think I can get another stack without the risk of what's going on at the quarterback. Like, I'm going to be good at quarterback. I might even tack on JJ McCarthy if I feel like it, but I can still get a fourth stack even without the quarterback. Making sure I'm not missing anything at wide receiver. I could do the Wan'Dale Robinson now, and then push running back, knowing we're going to do Tyrone Tracy. I kind of like that. I don't have anyone I love here. Wan'Dale Robinson is right at his ADP, and again allows me to get that another big team bet here. So we have 2 more picks left. One of them is going to be a running back to get us to 5 running backs. Definitely, I'm hoping it's Tyrone Tracy. And then I feel like we have 1 luxury pick because that will put us at 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. I think we're done at tight end. The real question is this: do we go with JJ McCarthy as a 3rd quarterback? Based on the capital I spent on these quarterbacks, I would normally say no. This is a 2 quarterback build. I think I am just going to lock up. Yeah, I'm going to lock up Tyrone Tracy here. Gives us another giant. We do that. So now we have Tyrone Tracy. We have Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't think I need to do the 3rd quarterback. Unless both, like Hyatt and Dortch go, I don't think we need to force it. I really like how this team turned out, though, I will say, as we're about to make the last pick. All right, so Dortch goes. So it looks like we're headed for a Jalen Hyatt and just an absolute mega stack on the Giants. And I do like this because I'm able to get the benefits of this stack without taking on the risk of Daniel Jones. I don't need Daniel Jones on this team. I'm playing Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels as smashes. And I'm also just playing the Giants through a ton of the cheap pieces. I mean, Neighbors was expensive, but all of the other pieces are cheap. Yeah, we're going to end this with Jalen Hyatt. And I do think once we get the schedule, I think I would find another correlated piece here, a Chicago or Washington bring back in week 16 or 17. So this final team here in the books, 2 rookie quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. We got a 5 running back anchor RB build, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowdle, Ray Davis, and Tyrone Tracy. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Ladd McConkey, Josh Downs, Luke McCaffrey, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Trey McBride, and Ben Sinnott. And I love this team. It accomplishes so much of what I want to do in drafts. First of all, we executed the exact plan, basically, that I wanted to at the start. I have some really nice stacks. Chicago Onslaught, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. We got a Washington double stack with Jayden Daniels, Ben Sinnott, and Luke McCaffrey. We have a giant stack without the quarterback, which is great because I don't want to deal with the Daniel Jones, Drew Lock situation. But we still have Tyrone Tracy, Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt. We benefit from that offense outperforming expectations. We even have some mini correlations. We got Jonathan Taylor and Josh Downs, both on the Colts there. So this is heavily concentrated on a couple of teams, lots of correlation, lots of rookie upside, lots of value relative to ADP. We really didn't have to reach a ton outside of Ben Sinnott. That was really the one big reach. Overall, this draft went incredible. It did go according to plan. I'm very happy with it. I'm honestly shocked how well it went according to plan. I was very worried about the Jayden Daniels thing because so much of what I set out to do was I wanted to get this Jayden Daniels backdoor double stack with Ben Sinnott and Luke McCaffrey. And I thought I was going to end up missing out on Jayden Daniels. I thought that drafter Slick Willie was going to take him. But then I was able to get Jayden Daniels right at ADP, and it unlocked everything else I wanted to do in this draft while simultaneously allowing me to be flexible and lock up this Chicago Bears double stack that I had no plan of being able to get. Because again, what I was trying to do when I set out to do this draft is take advantage of broken ADPs. The Chicago Bears are actually guys I identified in our Fallers video of guys that you need to wait on to draft until their price is dropped. I never envisioned them dropping this early. Keenan Allen drops, 8 picks past ADP into round 5. Rome Odunze drops 8 picks past ADP into round 6. So I don't get Xavier Worthy, but I get Rome Odunze. And then because I did the flip where I said I'm going to take my tight end in round 4, my wide receiver in round 5, that opened me up to get Keenan Allen value. So I stayed within my plan, but was just flexible enough to take advantage of unique values. And that's exactly what I think you want to do. There's going to be tons of conversations that pop up throughout the offseason that are like, why are you taking the round 2 wide receivers? They're so overvalued, or, these guys shouldn't be going this late. But the whole point is when you know what you're going to do at the end of the draft, that can push you in the right directions. Like a really good example of reverse engineering your draft. Last year, the onesie positions were really deep. There were lots of late round quarterbacks: CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Sam Howell. So you knew it was almost impossible to get shut out at quarterback. There were always these safety nets. Same with tight ends. There were lots of viable late round tight ends last year, chief among them being Sam Laporta. So if you missed out on, a round 3 Mark Andrews, or you missed out on some of these guys, it didn't feel like the end of the world because you knew what you could have late. So this is essentially supercharging that thing, knowing what's at the end of the draft board and working backwards. And this is something Sean Siegel has done for years. And then it can really inform your ultimate structure. And hey, and I have the flexibility to go anchor RB or zero RB because of all these rookie running back values right now. And it's also important because these values are going to shift. Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, these guys are going to get pushed up to where they aren't necessarily values, but I know that they are now. And that allowed me to kind of reverse engineer and get guys that I'm locking in CLV for while still accomplishing structural goals. I would always recommend reverse engineering your draft. I think it can happen a bit naturally once you do a lot of drafts. You start to know those value pockets from an overall positional standpoint. You start to know, hey, this is a sweet spot for running backs in rounds 7 through 10. This is a sweet spot for quarterbacks, in rounds 11 and 12, whatever it is. You start to kind of understand, and you can kind of reverse engineer on the fly. That's ultimately how I think you would ideally do it. You would draft the first 4 to 5 rounds. You'd press pause. Obviously, you can't press pause, but you'd press pause and then say, okay, who are the wide receivers I have? Oh, I have Garrett Wilson. Okay, Aaron Rodgers becomes a potential candidate. Oh, I also have Drake London. That means Kirk Cousins. Both those guys are going late. Maybe this is a late round quarterback team. What does this do to free me up? This is one of the ways that Pat Kerrane won Best Ball Mania 2. He was thinking, hey, if I'm taking these running backs early, that means that I am going to have to push quarterbacks even later and get to a 3 quarterback build. Understanding what these early decisions mean for your overall structure. And I think that exercise is always a good one to think through. And then I think it's particularly valuable right now because there are these values that aren't going to exist. And it's really easy to get distracted. I get distracted by correlation and ADP values. And you sometimes forget, hey, guess what? Ladd McConkey is going to be 2 rounds more expensive in about a month. So even though it doesn't feel like a slam dunk value now, if you zoom out on the chart, well, then he is. And writing it down ahead of time just makes it that much easier to stay on course and have conviction in that stuff. There's multiple benefits to going with an elite tight end, and I do think it is a dominant strategy this year. I actually, on Ship Chasing the other night, we pulled up a graphic from Dan who submitted to the Best Ball Data Bowl, and he was looking at the prices of elite tight ends, and they are cheaper than they have ever been in Best Ball Mania. We used to have to pay round 1 for Kelsey, round 2 for Mark Andrews. George Kittle and Darren Waller a couple years went at the 2-3 turn. All of these guys are multiple rounds cheaper than they've ever been, all because of recency bias of what happened last year. So elite tight end, the first point, we're getting big values relative to what we have previously had to pay for this. 2, these elite tight ends can separate from the position. What George Kittle can do, what Trey McBride can do on a given week cannot be replicated by a Hunter Henry, by a Pat Freiermuth. These guys might have one nice game in their bag, but they don't have a projectable ceiling like these guys do. And that helps us so much when we're in these playoff pods and we're needing to separate from the rest of the pack. And then the third thing is what it does for us structurally. When you grab an elite tight end, you are banking on them to be in your lineup most weeks, which means you don't have to spend 3 picks at the position. And because tight end is the lowest scoring position as is, I want to be devoting as little quantity to it as possible. So if with high quality elite tight end, I can just do a 2 tight end cheap build where my second tight end is coming much later, that's a huge selling point to me. I ended up getting pressed with the Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman decision where I did take Ladd McConkey in round 7 at pick 78. I have seen many screenshots of him going in round 6 already. And this is a classic decision point for me of I am not going to want to take Ladd in round 6. I'm going to want to take guys like Rome and Brian Thomas, Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin. I'm going to want those guys over Ladd McConkey. So when the market pushes him up ahead of them, I'm essentially going to have zero Ladd McConkey. And so, yeah, I love this team. I set out to do the perfect draft. Maybe it's not the perfect draft, but for in this moment, for what I set out to do here on May 3rd when we're recording this, it's about as close as you can get to a perfect draft. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Who are the guys you're reverse engineering to try to get in your drafts? Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you're not, we're going to be making videos every single week throughout the offseason to get you guys prepared for all of your underdog drafts. We'll catch you next time.